The third thing I'm talking about is more directly civil rights oriented, and it's because I think the Civil Rights Division policies probably have been more criticized than other divisions, and I can't speak for the policies in other divisions. I think that certainly that the responsibilities of the division have expanded greatly over the years. Certainly in the beginning, the core mission was voting rights enforcement on behalf of African Americans. It's grown tremendously all the way up to where we're enforcing election administration laws now, Help America Vote Act, the Motor Voter Bill. But I think what has been lost in this administration is straying from the core mission. I think many of you have read the statistics and the arguments about how many cases have been brought on behalf of African Americans versus how many cases have been brought on behalf of whites being discriminated against. And it's clear that the core mission of protecting and providing equal justice for African Americans has been lost and needs to be reinstated. The second thing I think is what's most important in the government is the ability to bring the most complex and difficult cases. And in civil rights, that is the pattern or practice cases, it's the Section 2 cases in voting rights, and amicus briefs that address the very difficult questions that may arise. So that's a start. I probably could go on for a long time. I think I will mention one other thing that gets a little outside of civil rights, but it's been a big topic of debate recently, and that is the priority the department put on voter fraud investigations and prosecutions, and what I think is a clear pattern of political decision-making in that area, from the decisions to fire U.S. attorneys who determined that some voter fraud investigations did not have enough evidence to prosecute Democrats, to recently changing the policies, the policy in the criminal division of staying away from bringing any prosecutions shortly before elections, which can have a real devastating impact on the election. The government had a long-standing policy to put off any investigations to after an election. The U.S. Attorney in Missouri went ahead and changed that back in November of 2006. And just last May, all of a sudden there's a new policy published that is much looser on this issue than before. I think the Attorney General needs to take a look at this whole area of voter fraud. It is worth a real good debate. There's issues on both sides, but the politicization of the use of voter fraud is so widespread, in my judgment, I could go on for a while on this, that I think this is something that would warrant the Attorney General looking at it very carefully. Thanks.
Thank you, Joe.